Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and welcome to my media channel. And I know, it's been a little while since I've uploaded a video on this channel, and honestly, this is not the type of video that we're going to be seeing more often. I have started a new format, but I do kind of want my media channel to be primarily about streaming services, physical media news, and commentary, reviews on physical media products. I don't really want to get into politics that much, but to be honest, this kind of involves a streaming service. It's kind of a big deal in some ways, and I've got very, very mixed feelings about this. So, apparently, there is a movie that is on Amazon that was touted by Kyrie Irving, and apparently it is a very anti-Semitic film. Now, I don't know exactly if you've been keeping up with news recently, but anti-Semitism is on the rise. I have no idea why. I mean, I used to actually kind of jokingly mock World War II movies, like, why do we make these movies every single year? We all know what happened, but despite that, it seems like people are going back to some really hateful and really dangerous old ways. And I guess we really don't learn anything in history. History is always doomed to repeat itself unless we learn from it. But I read this story and it was very interesting because I remember, this is kind of dating me a little bit, when Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11 came out in theaters, and it said some pretty, let's say, not nice things about then President George W. Bush. And I remember how Republicans were angry about that movie, and some middle-of-the-road voters questioned its authenticity. But I remember the response to that was not to have the film banned. It was not to encourage theaters to pull it. Some people certainly did, but the vast majority of people basically responded to the film. They wrote articles, they wrote books. They actually made reply documentaries to this documentary. Hey, we don't agree with this. We think that there is an angle that you are not taking into account, and we think this information isn't correct. And sure enough, Michael Moore did fudge a lot of the facts in little and big ways in that movie. There were some things he was correct about. I'm not going to act like it was a complete trash film, but, he did fudge the facts on a lot of that movie. But instead of calling for it to be banned or anything, filmmakers and authors and writers who disagreed with it produced response pieces. And this was the same thing that happened with Super Size Me, that movie where Morgan Spurlock goes and he eats McDonald's for 30 days and shows the ill health effects. And there was this one guy who knew that fast food just wasn't going anywhere, and he did a 30-day McDonald's diet and actually lost weight to show that, yeah, if you do this a little bit more carefully, you don't have to gain weight at McDonald's. I still think Spurlock's movie is the more compelling of the two because the way that the guy who lost weight did it, most people don't go to McDonald's to eat that way. He was being very, very healthy with the exception of the fries. Spurlock's way of eating was probably more realistic. And the reason I bring that up is because I read this article, I had not heard about this film, and I'm reading it, and I am so conflicted about this because as I read about this movie, and even just the title alone, this sounds like a very horrifying film. This just sounds like it's a propaganda piece on the same level of Triumph of the Will. Like, it has a hateful message to spread. It is propaganda. And the wrong people watching it can definitely do some damage. At the same time, Triumph of the Will is still out there. There are dangerous propaganda films that you can still watch. We learn how people were manipulated by watching these films. And I kind of feel like by calling attention to it and asking for it to be removed from Amazon and other platforms, that's just going to make the film more popular. Like, maybe we should take a page out of the 2004 Michael Moore Fahrenheit 9/11 situation, and instead of calling for the thing to be removed, make responses to it. Like, try to educate people, like, okay, look, this is what this person says. This is why we disagree with it. This is what we see the situation as. It's definitely a mess of a situation. So let's look at this article from Variety. Mila Kunis, Deborah Messing, and Mayim Bialik are among more than 200 celebrities and entertainment executives who have signed an open letter calling on Amazon and Barnes & Noble to remove the anti-Semitic documentary and book. Oh boy. Here's the title, folks. Here's the title. I don't even want to read it. Like, you can just tell from that title alone what kind of movie you're getting into and what kind of book you are buying when you pick this up. The letter was released by Creative Community for Peace, a nonprofit entertainment industry organization. Additional signers of the statement include Sherry Lansing, former CEO of Paramount Pictures, Haim Saban, chairman and CEO of Saban Capital Group, Orly Marley, president of Tough Going Worldwide, Rick Rosen, Endeavor co-founder, Disturbed frontman David Dryman, Nina Tassler, co-founder of Pat Ma Productions, songwriter Diane Warren, comedian Eliza Schlesinger, Ben Silverman, chairman and co-chief executive officer of Propagate Content, and actors Tracy Ann Olbermann and Emmanuel Tricru. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that name, I know. And here's the letter. The letter reads, after more than a week of private messages and public calls to take the fallacious book and movie, the title, from your sites, you have so far refused to act. Now here's why this really caught people's attention. Apparently this book was promoted by Brooklyn Nets guard Kylie Irving on Twitter, boosting the title to a bestseller on Amazon. It should be noted, folks, this is why Kanye West's comments are not harmless. He's an idiot, and he has the right to have those hateful opinions, unfortunately. But they are not harmless comments. People listen to these to public figures like that. And this is how disinformation spreads. This is how hate spreads. So I understand why they're concerned about this. The letter continues, both Amazon and Barnes & Noble have refused to remove the title and continue to profit from its bigotry. After a temporary suspension, $500,000 donation to the Anti-Defamation League, and having his Nike shoe line drop, Irving apologized last week for promoting the film. Now, the letter continued. This is probably why I decided to make the video, if I'm being honest. At a time in America where there are more per capita hate crimes against Jews than any other minority, I don't know if that's true, because every religious group, every sexual orientated group, they all claim that they have the most hate thrown their way. It's almost like a hate Olympics. There is a lot of hate, and I know the Jews are getting a lot of unnecessary hate. I just don't know if they're the worst. Not that that really means anything, I suppose. Overwhelmingly more religious-based hate crimes against Jewish people than any other religion, and more hate crimes against the Jewish people in New York than any other minority, where a majority of American Jews live, it is unacceptable to allow this type of hate to format on your platforms, the letter continues. Respected platforms and companies like Amazon and Barnes & Noble have a choice, said Ari Engel, director of Creative Community for Peace. They can either continue to profit off of hatred and anti-Semitism while turning a blind eye to the fears of the Jewish community, or they can choose to be an ally and stand on the right side of history. While free speech is vital, corporations don't need to help facilitate the spread of dangerous conspiracy theories and threaten the Jewish community. We implore them to take the prudent, responsible steps needed to remove this content. Now then, here's a very interesting aspect. Amazon continues to sell other controversial texts, including copies of Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf. However, a note in the description reads, proceeds donated to Jewish charities and organization. And, interestingly, I think this right here might be the solution. This might be the middle-of-the-road solution that we need for a situation like this. I'm against film banning. I'm against book burning. I feel very, very uneasy when people go to books, even books that expose totally dangerous ideas, and they want to ban them, they want to remove them from the bookshelves. I'm especially uncomfortable about the fact that there are books that are basically being burned before they even get to the shelves by activists saying this person is dangerous, they have these ideas, you cannot publish this book, you cannot allow it to see the light of day. I do fully believe let the bad ideas hang by their bad ideas. I'm also not ignorant to the fact that books like these and movies like these do real damage. I am not ignorant to that. So, what is a solution? Honestly, I'm against the book banning. I'm against the movie banning. I'm against these websites being pressured to remove books. I just am. Especially since once you do that, that's just going to make the book more coveted anyway. It kind of reminds me of a controversy years ago with the movie Barbershop, where Cedric the Entertainment made jokes in that movie about Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks. And I remember, like, the NCAAP, I believe it is, actually issued, like, a statement saying that the scene should be cut, or the movie banned, because of that, because those figures are too important to the black community and to black history to make fun of. And the director responded that he was not going to do that and said that they were taking the scene out of context because everyone else in the barbershop got on the Cedric the Entertainer character for making those jokes. You know what happened? Barbershop made more money the second week, and people who did not plan to watch that movie actually were interested because, yeah, someone was telling them what they could and couldn't watch. This is just how it goes, folks. So I actually think there's two solutions here that people really should be doing. If you see books and movies like this, start making responses to them. Like, actually make a movie in response to this movie, showing why these thoughts are dangerous. Heck, you can even put it on YouTube for free. If the ideas are that dangerous, don't even charge people for your response. Just put it out there for free. You have the ability to do that. And for some of these companies, if this becomes a big issue, yeah, you still got to pay the person who made it royalties and everything, but you can take your percentage of the profits and donate it to a charity to let people know where you stand. That way, even if these hateful people are buying this movie and they are buying this book, the profits of the book on Amazon side is going to a charity they support. And maybe some of this money can even be made to produce the information films and books and podcasts that could hit back on some of this hateful content. But simply removing it is not going to change people's minds about the hateful content. It's not going to erase the hateful content from existing. And in fact, it might do the worst thing of all. It'll make the hateful content more enticing. So for those reasons, I think this is a misguided effort to call for the removal of this film and book. At the same time, I think there are steps that could be taken to try to respond to the material. Like, let's start responding to hateful content with content that is more positive, that is better, and more truthful. That's my thoughts, anyway. I'd like to know what your thoughts are on this, what you think the solution should be in situations like this. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.